This episode is brought to you by this month's top patrons, Billzork, Pirate Chef, Boss Charlie, and Rhino. Thank you very much for supporting this podcast. If you enjoy this episode and you'd like to support us as well, please go to patreon.com/SaveEveryUniverse.
Coming up next, EA delays Battlefield 5. Robot women around the world cry foul. Microsoft announces financing plans to own an Xbox. Now you can finally make monthly payments while not playing any good exclusives. Are your children getting poisoned by bananas? Stay tuned and find out.
That's good. Welcome to Save Every Universe. My name is Alec Garcia. I'm the Master of Crows, leader of the Scorn, and the only known survivor of the Battle of Saturn. I'm an infamous freedom fighter, but my highest ambition is simply to find my sister.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Thank you.
You're just following that same vein, and you're falling into a rhythm here. You need to change
I
it
am
up.
so excited about it.
All right. My name is Robbie. I'm the king of the Kremlings, and I'm coming for all your bananas. And baby, I'm moving up to the big leagues.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yeah. So I actually know who you were last week.
You do? Go on.
You were Mr. Zavala.
Yeah, we were playing with Billzork, one of our Patreon supporters. What did he call him? Zubala?
Zuvala.
Pretty good. I like that better.
I started calling him Zulily after he said that.
Zulily?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's slowly evolving. Maybe once he has a little more personality in Forsaken, Lord willing, fingers crossed, maybe it'll be harder to make fun of him.
Maybe they'll add another syllable to his name.
Zavala.
Zavala. Yeah.
Zavala.
So was I right? That's who you were last week, right?
No, just you have to sing. You have to sing the
Or no,
scale.
an arpeggio every time you say his name.
Yeah.
Did you knew who I was? Or
Ikora will be like, you have to stop him, Guardian. Go talk to Zavala. La 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 la.
Hey, doesn't he always use code names like Operation Piccolo and stuff too?
I think so, right?
Maybe he is. Maybe he's
he makes a big. Yeah, he makes a big deal of it.
He's a closet composer.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I like that.
Last week, you came pretty close to guessing who I was.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was until I looked at your notes. Go ahead.
Okay,
I did not know. It sounded very familiar though from a SNES RPG.
I was Randy from Secret of Mana. I bought the remaster recently. I know it's been out for a little bit.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
It's 3-player.
Yeah,
it's 3-player co-op local.
Really?
So I started playing with my wife and my oldest son.
Was that more of a? So it wasn't like a turn-based deal. It was more of like a open world, well, not open world, but like more like Zelda.
Real time.
Like you'd walk around slashing.
Yeah, it was like a real time, but still more of an RPG than Zelda.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
Really unique and
okay.
cool.
Yeah, I remember you being really into it way back in the day, like in junior high and old school.
It's kind of fun to play through it again, actually.
So, one quick thing before we get into today's topic. We have some new YouTube content. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We've recorded 4 different sketches, like comedy sketches.
Yep.
And we're going to be putting out a couple more. We're going to be shooting again here in a couple of weeks, and it's going to be a regular deal, hopefully putting out one sketch per week that's themed around video games. I hope you guys like them. Go check them out if you haven't yet.
Yeah, check them out. They're on YouTube. It's Save Every Universe. We've had a channel if you haven't checked them out. Normally we were just putting up like episodes, but
you'll find all of our podcast episodes on the YouTube channel. We have a playthrough of A Way Out. We lost a couple episodes in this in the sausage making.
Yeah.
And but for the most part we have a playthrough of A Way Out on there, and then we'll be having some cool we think funny comedy sketches. So please give them a check out, give them a like, give them a share, smash that subscribe button, bro.
You don't have to do that. I don't do that.
You could smash it.
No. I can't afford to go through a new keyboard every time
you don't. It's like a metaphor.
Like a Hulk smash.
Yeah. I mean, you could like really rev up and then touch the click very softly.
See, if I rev up, I go all the way. Okay, you know that about me.
So don't smash it like Robbie. Smash it like a normal human.
But then you're not really smashing.
I guess that's true.
That's the wrong word.
I guess that's
fair. An abuse of the English language. So please don't smash anything. Public service announcement. Don't smash your keyboard.
So I mean, smash it like a normal person.
Just press the button.
Yeah, okay.
Or don't.
Press the subscribe button. And don't forget to smash that bell to get notifications.
Now, don't smash the bell.
That's what everyone says.
Do they?
Yeah. Let's move on.
I've never been to YouTube. I don't know.
So today, we're talking... It's our gaming news episode.
Yeah.
We've had... PAX West is starting today on the day that we're recording this.
Yes.
So we're not going to be covering that. But Gamescom was recently, and then happened recently. But then there was a slew of other news that happened this month. What have you on the dock today, Robbie?
There's been some pretty big events. One, actually, a pretty big tragedy occurred this month. So we should probably talk about that real briefly, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure you've heard of this. It's not just gaming news. It's national news about the shooting at the Madden event in Jacksonville, Florida.
Right. There was a player who, let's make sure I get my facts straight. So there was a player who lost a previous tournament, showed up for this one. This was a qualifying tournament to go on to Vegas, I think. Mm-hmm. There was prize money involved. This individual, from what I understand, had a little bit of some mental instability issues.
Yeah,
obviously.
he had a history of...
And he, during the Madden 19 tournament, he took aim and fired it. I believe it was the person who knocked him out of the previous tournament. There was a lot of injuries. It was a pretty horrific event. This is the first time something like this has happened at a gaming tournament. I'm not sure that this is gaming news per se, but I mean, it's coming up a lot in the news. People are tying it together. One of the things I thought was kind of significant about it is because this was the first time something like this happened, EA didn't really know how to respond.
Right.
I think everyone was kind of in shock from something like this.
And one of the competitors is actually suing both EA and the venue.
I'll say personally, just my 2 cents. Like, it's a horrible event. It shook me a little bit. One, as a gamer, because I've played in tournaments before, and two, as a father. Like, some of these people are young; they're in late teens. You know, I could see my son easily later in life wanting to go to something like this.
Right.
So it was a horrible thing. I'm sorry it happened. I think we'll see probably an increase in security and stuff. And I'm curious, just from an inquisitive standpoint, on how this will shape tournaments in the future, if things will change.
Maybe what you'll see is fewer tournaments being held.
Right. And there's obviously always political blowback from things like this.
Yeah.
But it's a horrible thing. Definitely my heart goes out, to the victims and the families and everything like that.
Moving on, though, to video game news.
Well, let's talk about EA. EA's kind of having a rough month.
So one of the big ones is Battlefield. They were 85% behind the pre-orders of Black Ops 4, which is just like ridiculous because the Black Ops 4 has gotten just nothing but, well, I mean, I guess there's still kind of a core group that's like psyched for Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
But for the most part, most people are like, act like they're phoning it in. It's multiplayer only. They didn't really put that much work into it. They're just trying to charge full price for like an unfinished half a product.
Right.
They're getting all that crap, and Battlefield is still 85% behind that. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah. So I guess one thing I don't know about that either is, are they normally like neck and neck? Do you know what the numbers are? Like, does Battlefield normally surpass it?
That's a good question, actually. I'm not really sure what the normal numbers are, but where the information came from is industry insiders have said that it's a fairly reliable way to track like how a game will do at launch. And so it was significant enough of a decrease that they were like, holy shit, Battlefield's not going to do good.
I always wonder about these types of reports too, because I feel like they become a little like self-fulfilling prophecy. So you get all these slander reports about like nobody's doing it. This sucks. And it's like I felt that way a little bit similarly to like the Solo movie, where like nobody went and saw it and there was all this slander. I went and saw it and was like, I kind of like this movie. I don't understand the hate, right? Yeah. I get concerned when I see all these bad articles and it's done, forget it. It can't even be Call of Duty 4 or whatever.
So let's talk about Battlefield specifically though, because when they did the release trailer thing, a lot of people were mad. Like they showed almost no gameplay and they showed robot-y, steampunky looking stuff. Yeah. I don't even think it was the women issue. It was more just the overall style of that initial trailer. Like I almost feel like that initial trailer has caused them just an avalanche of problems because they didn't show people what Battlefield players really care about, which is really good gritty gameplay with fantastic sound design and really good gunplay and great map design. And like they didn't show any of that. They showed character customization and a half a somatic.
Right. Well, maybe they were trying to like go after the Fortnite crew or something, but I agree with you.
That's what it felt like. It felt, like a grittier, more realistic version of like a Fortnite thing.
Right. Now, I'm excited about the game because I like the Battlefield series and I'm sure it'll be great, but I think you're absolutely right in that, like, if you look back on like the Battlefield 1 trailer that was like gritty and like, oh, they're in the trenches stabbing people, and like it felt like hard to watch almost, like it was so grisly. Yeah. This is the exact opposite of that, which is weird because I remember when the Battlefield 1 trailer came out, I mostly only heard positive things. Right. But it's like,
people went nuts and they were like, this is just going to absolutely destroy Call of Duty this year, et cetera, et cetera.
And they were like, that worked really well. Let's not do anything like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious because I think at its core, it's going to be really good. I'll say I'm a little concerned about how this reflects on DICE, because I think they make great games, but like if this goes badly and then they had Battlefront 2 kind of not perform the way it was supposed to, and
it does seem like though that like because the mechanics of Battlefront 2 were good,
they are,
and DICE makes good shooters. That's just what they do, and it kind of seems like EA, well, whether it's true or not, EA looks like the bad guy here. I'm sure it's true, but they're really steering DICE down this road that's just like monetize everything, squeeze everybody, like, and they're just
Maybe
EA seems so out of touch with what players actually want.
I think okay.
You think DICE is the one that's like responsible for those decisions?
But
that's all I'm saying.
I don't even think those are that's not even the truth. I don't even think that's actually what's happening.
Right.
I think we talked about an E3 episode recently, but EA makes horrible trailers, and I think whoever's in their marketing department doesn't do very good.
Right.
I don't think Battlefield 5 is going to be altered the way it looks like it is. I think it's being presented badly.
Okay, I think that's true because like if like shortly after that they had like the alpha and the closed beta stuff that was like all over YouTube, and it looked great. It was a World War II style. It looked like they took what was good about Battlefield 1 and then polished it and reiterated it and added some stuff, and it looks really good. It looks like a solid Battlefield game, but they didn't present that at all at that initial reveal.
And EA did the same thing with Anthem, right?
Yeah.
Where it was like, people were coming out like, wow, if you would have seen the game we got to see, you wouldn't have been mad about it.
Right.
But the trailer was a little, I don't know, lackluster, right?
Well, I think people... So let me ask you this. Do you think people are just like over seeing a fancy cinematic?
Yes.
Yeah, I think people like good trailers, but I don't think they want to see a cinematic because they're like, this is not representative, and as I'm making my buying choices, why the hell would you show me this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all tired of we want to see what it really looks like, right? If we get what the advertisement's going to look like, but I think at these types of things at E3, Gamescom, those types of shows, I think we want to see something a little more, something more than just the YouTube footage, something that everyone's going to see. You're going to see on the TV during a commercial.
Yeah.
We don't want the cinematic. We can experience that in the story. We want to know why we should buy this game.
Right.
And it's not going to be the 2-minute cinematic.
Well, and I think the Destiny 2 Forsaken trailer that came out recently is like a really good example of that. A lot of it, some of it's like the cinematics that you'll see in the game, but it's blended with lots and lots of gameplay.
Right.
And they wove that together for a really compelling trailer. I think whether you like the game or not, F&A, it's a good trailer.
It's a good trailer.
It gets you super hyped for like getting revenge and stepping into this world and going after these barons, and you see the different guns and the different supers. That's what the Battlefield 1 trailer did, I think, for the Battlefield community, got them hyped because there was enough cinematic stuff in there. They had cool like planes zooming by and all kinds of shit, but it was like there was enough gameplay in there that you got psyched to go into the desert and fire that Martini Henry and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And now very recently, like a day ago before this recording, we found out that they got pushed back, or they've decided to delay the Battlefield 5 release to November.
Yeah, and they're saying that it's to put finish polish touches on the game, but it doesn't seem like they could do that much in a month, right? Like in how things ship. I don't know that much about like the inner workings of studios and the logistics of like how hard copies ship and all that stuff, but it doesn't seem like that's enough time to make any serious dramatic changes to the game, don't you think?
You know, I don't know, right? Because I mean, there's a lot of, it depends. Like, I know that there's been some feedback from the alpha, right? And if it's like just a mere
beta,
and the closed beta, and I think that we'll have the beta we can participate in pretty soon. But I think there's been enough feedback that for just balancing things, those should be fairly simple to change.
Right.
So in theory,
I think they'll be able. Yeah, I guess that's true. They'll be able to balance some stuff, I guess, just based on the feedback of the beta. It'll. But I don't know. It does.
It seems like a bad choice to push it back, given that there's already people throwing shade and already. Do they think it's going to make them look better or worse? I guess that's what it really came down to.
Right.
And so far, people seem like it's only negative.
So because the other point of view on that is that they're not really pushing it back to fix anything. Because they were releasing right in between Red Dead Redemption and Black Ops 4, like within a couple weeks of those, and it seems like now that the pre-orders are soft and they have all this backlash of because the other thing that happened was the guy saying that the punchline and the way it's getting repeated in YouTube comments and in memes is you're not smart enough to play this game. Have you heard this?
No.
Oh, okay. So like the guy Soderbergh or something like that, he was like he's like one of the head guys of EA, and people were giving him backlash about the women and the robots and all that stuff, and he basically said like, if you aren't smart enough to realize that this is how it actually was in the world, then you need to go open a book and pre-order or don't. He said something very close to that.
Nice.
That's not an exact quote, but he said something close to that, and people flipped out and said, oh, okay, cool, I won't, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And so most people are crediting him saying that, and he left. He like stepped down like shortly.
Oh, right. I did see that.
He did step down shortly after that. So it's almost like they were like, okay, like get out of the way now because we have to fix this shit now.
Yeah, that could be.
So they might have just pushed it back to like let some of the hate die down. amidst the hype of some of these other games that are launching, and to let it launch in a window that's less competitive.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, they let their stocks take a hit. They probably knew that was going to happen, I would assume. But yeah, it'll
Better
be interesting.
than launching a game and it just totally tanking. If they push it back 1 month and take a little hit on the stocks from now and then launch stronger than they could have, I don't know. It's probably the right choice overall.
Probably. Time will tell, I guess, but I'm still excited.
I love Battlefield, and I think it's going to be a good, solid Battlefield installment. From the gameplay that I'm seeing, it really looks like it is. There's just, there's so much PR nightmare happening right now.
Speaking of, let's go the other way. Let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Speaking of just bitchin' fucking trailers that came out and got everybody excited.
Yeah, and gameplay. Yeah, the 48 minutes of gameplay that came out for people.
Yeah, 40 minutes.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, they released a huge chunk of gameplay, and this is the gameplay demo that people were getting to see behind closed doors at E3 and Gamescom. And then they released it shortly after Gamescom, and it looks pretty amazing.
It does look pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know it's based on like a book series and a paper, like a D&D type game, right? Which I know nothing about.
And it's made by CD Projekt Red, who did The Witcher.
Yep, which I'm only recently getting.
Witcher 3 is like universally acclaimed as like one of the best RPGs, but it was very shocking when they announced that Cyberpunk 2077 was a first-person game after The Witcher was a third-person action
Right, at E3
RPG.
They showed that trailer and everyone freaked out. I was like, that's a cool trailer, but it was kind of similar to like what we were saying before. I was like, who gives a shit? That's not gameplay. And then they came out with this, and the gameplay, there's a lot of gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, 40 minutes of straight gameplay is a lot, and they made sure to showcase all kinds of stuff during that time.
And I was refusing to be hyped about this at all, because it was the same thing. Like, they haven't shown gameplay, who cares? And now I'm hyped because the gunplay and the environmental destruction and the character creation and the world, man, it has that great like gritty Blade Runner feel to it.
I know.
Man, it looks good.
I got a lot of thoughts of like Blade Runner and then some Fifth Element too when I was watching.
Good call.
I thought it looked sweet. And I think that's really cool considering it's like a first-person shooting RPG, which is a lot different than The Witcher, right?
Which I'm happy about, because I've said in the past, I'm more first-person. Given the choice between first and third, I lean toward first. Given the choice between sci-fi and fantasy, I lean toward sci-fi. So like this is, holy crap, this looks just absolutely incredible to me. Like I'm ready to like immerse in that world. And no load times is like the other thing. It's just going to be this fluid.
Can they do that? Is that
God of War almost did it? Like
that's true.
Developers are getting better at hiding their load times. Like they'll do like a very short animation that requires very little load power. I'm not a programmer, but this is my intuition of it just from playing through some of these games. And then there's stuff loading behind the scenes as this simple animation is happening, and you don't notice it.
Right, like the fast travel in God of War was a good example. Like you had to assemble the gate with rocks, and then it paused, and then it let you pick your destination. Yeah, and then he did a slow walk through. Yeah. And then you had to actually walk through the path of
they did it. The animation of the branches like weaving through, and it was a cool animation. It was beautiful, and you kind of like got lost watching it and stuff, and you don't notice that it's loading.
I was blown away though by that demo. It looked like it had everything I love about like the newer Fallout games.
Yes,
plus but it's still a very original, its own thing.
Yeah, man, but it looks good. I'm very excited about that now.
Nice. There was a lot of trailers that came out this month. I tried to write down all the ones like I found. I don't know.
You know what? I was a little underwhelmed with, because I feel like last time, this is good. I'm fine with this, but I feel like last E3 2017 was like very meh, and then they came up with some really juicy trailers in Gamescom, and so this was like a really juicy E3 2018, and I was expecting like, whoa, what the hell are they going to do at Gamescom? Here it comes. I was like, my expectations were high, and it felt like they just sort of trickled out a little bit more of stuff that had been released at E3, more so than it like really something like they dropped a bomb that was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they showed that. Or
that's mostly true. I mean, with maybe the exception of like Cyberpunk 2077.
That was the big one. Yeah. No, but the gameplay for that though actually came out after they dropped it after. People were seeing it behind closed doors even after they had come back from Gamescom. I was watching a YouTuber who was talking about like, oh, I saw this at Gamescom. It was fantastic. I can't show it, but I can tell you about what I saw.
That's true. But I mean, as far as what we got access to.
So, but that came out post Gamescom.
Yeah. I didn't get super stoked about much on the trailers. I mean, it was just kind of more of the same, right? Yeah. More just elaboration, which if last month we talked about how it was like our post E3 episode almost with news, this honestly is closer to being like a post. Gamescom was mostly just an elaboration of stuff from E3. Like they showed some new characters and fights from Smash Brothers, which was cool, but look, I'm already going to buy the game, guys.
But yeah, it wasn't this big mind-blowing reveals or anything like that.
I got to say, though, adding, like, I was actually kind of they added the Castlevania characters, the Richters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a
that
good
was
addition.
crazy because, like, they already were like, everybody's here. And I was like, holy shit, it's the biggest fucking roster of all time. And now they're like, hell with it. Let's keep adding characters anyway. I don't know if you've seen that.
Is that going to be good, do you think? Or do you think there's going to be so many that they end up sort of melding together?
How dare you?
Okay.
Yeah. How dare you?
So thank you for answering my question. Moving on.
Let's talk about, well, I don't have much to say about it, but NVIDIA's releasing the new line of GPUs.
Yeah, so I think that's a big deal, actually. I don't think it's like a big deal in the sense like we should all rush out and buy one or whatever, because they're still very expensive, but I think it's a big deal in terms of, because the way I heard it explained is the trace ray technology has to do a lot with reflections, right? And I was watching WALL-E the other day. It's my daughter's favorite movie. We watch it like almost every day.
Nice.
But you look, even back then, that's an old movie now, and you look at like the reflections that happen in Eve's shiny exterior and stuff, and a lot of that stuff is super advanced that to a certain degree even you don't see reflections that advanced even in video games now in this current generation in a lot of games. And if this processing technology, if this graphics technology can get like that next level up, the way I heard it explained is the reflection technology you see in like Pixar movies, that it takes shitloads of processing power to get this.
To render that?
If video games can process that now in real time, it really is going to add just like this whole next level of beauty and fidelity and detail to the next generation of video games. So I think it is a big step forward, and it probably is a big deal. But for people like me, who's going to wait for it to make it to a console, I think it's going to be a while still.
Yeah, I mean, what's most important about this is it's another big milestone that's going to allow PC gamers to say that they're better than everyone else.
That's correct. It's just going to keep going.
This just helps cement that.
Yeah.
If you think the gap was going to close, it's not.
Yeah. But as a console gamer, I'm excited to see that technology trickle down over time in the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever the hell that comes out next generation.
What do you think about... Have you seen any of the Overwatch animated shorts? Do you ever watch those or no?
No, I haven't. Actually, I remember I watched one of them a little while ago, but I never really got... I'm not that big of an Overwatch fan, so I never really got into them.
Well, look, there's people who watch them who don't even play, play the game. Because they're really well done. There was a new one for a new character for you Overwatch players, Eva, fans love her. And people go crazy over this shit. Like, any nugget of lore, people run with it. People have her like now with her girlfriend fan fiction and all kinds of they're like, oh, she's a lesbian, we always knew it, like crazy shit. And that's fine.
I remember watching a bunch of them right as Overwatch was launching. They released a bunch of them as like side marketing pieces. I do remember. Yeah, they were very good.
So, I mean, I don't care about the fan fiction stuff. I think it's crazy. Like, they have such a dedicated, imaginative fan base, and I think Blizzard's smart in playing it mostly low-key and letting the fans do what they want with it. That being said, this was another slam dunk short. It was really cool.
Okay.
They're so well done. Like, it is like watching a movie. It reminds me of like Pixar films and stuff.
I actually wish more developers and stuff, and you see some of it, right? There's like a novel that some unknown writer gets like commissioned to like write a side Halo novel or something like that. Sure. You see some of that, but it is really cool. Like, even when you just see like a little short film that supports the narrative of.
Well, I think what's cool about it too is like, okay, so this game's been out for a couple years now, right? And I think this helps keep the community active. It makes the game feel alive, living, constant. You're not like, that's an old game.
Yeah,
it's just like a living, breathing thing. And as these things develop, it helps people keep wanting to play it. Maybe people who don't own it want to buy it. Whatever.
No, character and story go a long way in keeping that bond up with a universe and a world and a community.
Yeah, I completely agree. Speaking of old games, Diablo 3 coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
6 years old, don't give a shit.
It's a solid game. They still sell the whole collection for like $60 on PlayStation, the Reaper of Souls edition or whatever.
Look, I love it. I'll even fire it up every now and then and still play a season.
It's good.
I can't believe how successful the Switch has been. It's just selling shit that's already been made.
Yeah.
And it's great. And they do a good job.
Well, you've never been able to have it in a handheld way like that before.
I know. That's why it's so brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
I would have knocked it. I think I did knock it in previous, like, before I owned a Switch. Now that I have a Switch.
Even Doom, like, there was a pretty big, like, graphical drop to bring Doom to the Switch, but the gameplay still felt good. And, like, everything that made Doom good was still there minus the graphical fidelity. But I
just can't believe it.
It's good. It's so, yeah.
And then they do it with great choices. Games that are solid, games that you can you'd love to fire up again. And I'm always surprised at the comments I see, like, in forums or even on, like, Discord, where people are like, yeah, I can't believe that shit. Well, time to buy it for a third time.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? I mean, I'm not going to buy it a third time.
Right.
But It's crazy, man. Nintendo, they just do whatever the hell they want and they succeed at it.
Yeah.
And they can't go wrong with the Switch.
And it's a good couch co-op, like sit down with 2 Switch controllers and do some Diablo. That's that's a perfect fit.
There was a Diablo 1 on PlayStation. Did you ever play it?
Diablo 1 on PlayStation?
Diablo 1 on PlayStation. And you could split.
I have played Diablo 3 on PS4, and I wasn't sure how the controllers would feel. Oh yeah. Yeah, we did like couch co-op, like 4 players on it one time, and it was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me though.
Yeah.
It's not crazy to me that it is a great idea. It's just crazy to me that they're like 6-year-old game, we're going to sell it, you're going to give us money for it, and everyone's going to clap their hands.
Why would you not want Diablo 3 on a portable device like that?
Because it's already own Diablo 3
on your PC.
Do you think I'm going to go to the fucking park and then go play some Diablo 3?
I'm not. No, okay. First of all, those commercials are bullshit. And I'm
Do
saying
I need to play
the park
Diablo?
Is the last place you should be playing Diablo 3. But in an airport, sure. In your living room while your wife is watching the Britain's Great Baking Show, sure.
Fair enough. But look, I don't need to play Diablo 3 while I'm taking a shit.
You don't?
I mean,
I thought I didn't need to play Breath of the Wild while I was taking a shit until I did it, and then I never shat without it.
All right, well, I guess they obviously know their business. Maybe you're going to buy a Switch
again. You're not going to
again.
start a necromancer sitting on the toilet?
No.
Why would you not?
Because what's that going to do to me? You know what I mean?
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. Let's just move on.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Xbox announced they were adding... They're calling it a subscription, which I think is a bunch of tomfoolery bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's basically you can finance an Xbox.
Yeah,
for a
that's what it
very
really
low
is.
price, you get full access to the Games Pass. It is a good deal if you do the math. But
it's actually... It's not a bad deal.
No, it's not. But like if you want...
The math works out about the same. If you were going to buy all these services a la carte, the difference it's you save.
So first of all,
$10.
you get the Game Pass, you get the Xbox Live Gold subscription, and you get the console. You get those 3
for 2 years.
For 2 years, for a monthly price, you own the console at the end of the 2 years, and then you also have to re-up your Gold and Game Pass subscription.
But think of it like the way you finance your cell phone, right? Like you sign up for this, but you're on the hook for the full amount. You're not like. You can't trade it in 2 months, be like, I don't like this. You're signing a contract, a legally binding contract through the Dell financing, whatever.
For the Xbox One S, though, the punchline is $21.99 a month. For the Xbox One X is $34.99 a month over 2 years, and then you own the console at the end of the deal.
But it's not a subscription. You should... Alex said something funny to me offline about engagement rings.
Oh, yeah.
You should say... Like,
I do marketing work for a jewelry store.
Yeah,
so.
you can't go into a jewelry store.
Be like, check out our new engagement ring subscription over 36 months for this. So how do they get away with... Because there is a subscription service that goes with it, but basically what you're doing is financing an Xbox.
Yeah.
And
now, if that works for your budget, whatever, that's cool.
I'm not knocking it.
You're not getting screwed.
$34.99 to get an Xbox One X, I think is actually not a bad deal.
And you're not getting screwed in the sense of, like, a lot of times when you finance something, you're ultimately paying, like, 3 times the amount or whatever. That's not true in this case. So...
Well, and I think they're being very... Because they are down, and they have been losing the console war this generation. I think it's a pretty smart play to get more people in their hopper for a very low monthly payment. Like, I think it's kind of cool. I think it's a good initiative. Okay, small micro thing. This is interesting, though. Doom 2. There was, like, a secret that you had to, like, find all these different secrets to, like, truly 100% the game. And there was a secret in Doom 2 that everyone thought was, like, intentionally coded as it was impossible to do. It was, like, the impossible secret. And people figured out how to do it by glitching, like doing a glitch mod thing, like through the walls to see what was over there, and they could do it that way, but no one ever actually, in the original coding of the game, could legitimately get through the wall to this other secret. And this dude recently finally found out that you had to, like, lead an enemy over there and have the enemy hit you into the wall, and it's a natural glitch that the coders put in the game to glitch you through the wall, unlock the secret. So this dude, Zero Master is what he goes by, did it. He posted a video, and the creator of, like, one of the head guys of Doom 2 was like, hey, congratulations, you finally did it. It's like 25 years later, this guy,
holy shit,
Doom
really?
2 was finally 100%ed.
Dude, did you ever do, I did the, it was ID clip to go through the walls.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember
ID clip. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did it. I remember there was, like, the head on the spike of the guy screaming in the last room and stuff.
So it was like one of those types of secrets that there was a way to get in there built in that nobody ever figured out until recently.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was one with Resident Evil 4 not too long ago. It was like if you sniper rifle scoped from a certain point, there was a little clip out of one of the developers hidden in the fog of this cat.
And they just recently found it.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff. It makes you think about what else is hiding in games. games.
Yeah, that's actually always kind of exciting to see. Also kind of crazy that people are still like going back through Doom 2 and like playing
combing those games for all these little secrets.
But honestly, the people who are still playing Doom 2 are the people who are... Those are the ones that are going to crack and fight, right?
Moving on. So Valve said that they're done sitting on mountains of cash and that Steam is finally in a good place and that they invested in their infrastructure. They invested in the future of Steam and Valve, and they're finally going to put down serious time and money and development talent into putting out their own games.
I don't even want to fucking hear it.
Half-Life 3 is coming. It's coming.
When I see it, when I'm holding it in my hands.
This is the first time, though, in a long time that they've actually made an official statement like we're shifting gears internally. We are shifting gears toward putting new games out.
You can't see my face, but it's entirely unimpressed and not moved. Your plea falls on deaf ears, sir.
Read my notes. Half-Life 3 is coming.
Look, I wrote that on every page of my notebook for years, okay? So it didn't make it any more true.
And then after Robbie got out of the institution,
it was all and I wrote it all over the walls.
Half-Life 3 is coming.
Don't trigger me again. I might have a relapse. No, I don't want to hear it.
It's coming. It has to be.
I don't want to hear it until I see it, until I can lick that disc.
Okay, so speculatively, what do you think would be like the something that Valve would put out first? Do you think that we would see like a Left 4 Dead 3 or a Portal 3, something, or a brand new IP?
If I had to speculate, because we did a podcast about video games, and you cornered me on a recording.
Yeah. Another Team Fortress, maybe? Because that did really well for them.
Yeah. I would have to guess probably not another Portal, maybe another Team Fortress.
Yeah.
It's still going. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they would decide to pick something that's still popular or something that's like kind of died off. Like, would they try and do a better version of a Counter... I mean, some people still play Counter-Strike Go, but I don't think it took off as much as some of their past iterations.
I mean, CSGO is big in the professional gaming community, but it doesn't have like a big casual following or anything like that.
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe.
I think it's exciting, though. Valve is finally officially claiming to get their hat back in the arena of development because, like, some of the games that they have put out were, like, my favorite games of all time. And, like, not just Half-Life, but Left 4 Dead. And I just have so many good memories with those games.
Listen, I don't know how you can poo-poo on the, like, getting enthusiastic for Anthem and then get stoked.
I'm not poo-poo on Anthem.
You are poo-poo. You are poo-poo and doo-doo all over Anthem. So you do that, and then you come at me with these types of notes.
You're gonna tell me you're not excited for the inevitable return of Half-Life? I'm just kidding. No, I am excited for Anthem, though. I was very disappointed, actually, that we didn't see anything at Gamescom about Anthem, and I'm hoping for something out of PAX West.
There's rumors, yeah.
They showed a lot at E3, though. So part of me is content to just wait for the release of the game, because I think it is going to be very, very good. I think the core campaign, the core experience is going to be very good. I'm just skeptical of the end game.
Yeah, but I don't think any trailers are going to fix that, right?
Right.
We've already pre-ordered it.
That's what I mean. I'm excited for what the game is based on what we've seen so far. And yeah, I'm on the boat. Like, I pre-ordered the Dawnbreaker edition, the Dawnbreaker edition, the fancy version.
Yeah.
So I'm on board. But I don't believe that I'm skeptical that any new IP could come into the loot shooter space and get end game right out of the gate.
Well, I'm skeptical of Half-Life 3. So.
No, dude, it's inevitable. Okay, let's shift gears to something more serious.
Okay.
Spider-Man graphical downgrade. Let's talk about those puddles.
It broke my heart, dude. I went and I demanded a refund from GameStop for those. I couldn't believe it, dude.
Okay,
They've ruined my boy.
I know that seems like an abrupt segue, but it's actually not, right? Because we've joked before about what a ridiculous thing it is that people would flip out about. Anthem looks so good. Yeah. And the thing people fixated on was like, but the numbers are too big. And this shit with Spider-Man is like, who's going back and combing through this shit and being like, they shrunk the puddles?
Honestly, that guy just wanted his day on the internet. Like, that son of a
Smaller
bitch spent all that time going through puddles. Come on.
Yeah.
Go do something else.
So I was reading an article where the dev had, like one of the head devs of Spider-Man, Insomniac had responded to it and was like, here's the situation with the puddles. We shrunk them and moved them for artistic reasons. It has nothing to do with graphical downgrade. And I was like reading his thing, and it made me like, do these people like stop and think as they're explaining shit about puddles and just think, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what are we talking about?
Obviously they don't.
Yeah.
So you got two schools of thought. You got the EA guy who's like, we did it our way and fuck you.
Right.
And then we got the Insomniac guy who's like, listen, we've heard your concerns about the puddles.
And he gave a very realistic explanation, but it's just crazy to me that he had to explain that at all.
Hey, he obviously was very kind, not sarcastic. He did the exact opposite of the EA guy, and was like,
if you don't understand puddle size, you can pre-order.
Listen, you wouldn't understand how puddles work in the developer world. This is beyond your puny mind.
Read a book about puddles if you need to.
Go watch Singing in the Rain.
Get on my level, bro.
Dude, oh my God.
Yeah, so no, I agree. Actually, I mean, part of me is like, that's really cool that he explained it, and I guess thanks for alleviating the fears about graphical downgrading and stuff, but part of me is like, man, I heard a parent tell a story about how they ran out into the yard because the kids were fake drinking each other's pretend Cokes. And so this guy was telling the story about how he ran out into the lawn and was like, quit drinking your brother's pretend Coke. And he had this moment where he had to stop and be like, what am I doing? What does my life come to? It kind of reminded me of that. That this dev has to go out and be like, here's the situation with the puddles.
We've talked about this before, I think, but that's the kind of pressure we're putting on our developers right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm
hearing this more and more of YouTubers and stuff being like, hey, I think more of them are getting invited to events and stuff, and the wall between YouTube type commentators and stuff and the developers, there's a little bit more transparency there, and these YouTubers are having a little bit more of a peek behind the veil as they make their content and tell people about shit. And I've heard more and more of these types of commentators saying hey, remember that these developers are people. We got to meet them, and they're really nice people, and they're doing the best job that they can for this game.
Oh, and we're just supposed to trust them? Huh? I didn't elect those guys, okay?
Not my developer.
Not my YouTuber, okay? He doesn't represent me.
I'm just saying,
now that they're drinking the Kool-Aid from these puddles, I'm just supposed to take their word from it now that they're sucking on the teat of these developers? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm saying that I think you made my point very well about how cynical we have become.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And Spider-Man looks very good.
No, dude, I think the puddles show that it's all cracks, dude. This is all a conspiracy. Dude, if you hold the cover backwards and upside down, you'll see they've reduced the frame rates, dude, by 3. It's not 60 FPS.
What is this, checkerboard 4K? They lied to us.
They're lying. This is all upscaling. No, I completely agree with you. I think it's silly. I think it's horrible that somebody could make such a stink about this, and then we all listen.
Yeah,
we're even talking about it on this freaking podcast.
Well, and because the headlines you see after that, it was these puddles got smaller, and then the headlines that you see all over the internet is Spider-Man graphical downgrade.
Yeah.
that's fucked up for how much
up.
How hard these guys are working. I mean, if it comes out and that actually happens, we'll have a different opinion about it. But that sucks on the developers' behalf. If it's not true that they're just getting thrown under the wagon.
Right, and now they might lose sales and take losses on something because a bunch of assholes put some clickbaity shit up
about a smaller puddle.
Yeah,
it kind of annoys.
It's disappointing.
Yeah,
obviously that's not what we're into, but we will put it in the title of this podcast.
Thank you for listening to Save Every Universe. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/Save Every Universe. Even $1 a month helps us out quite a bit to continue making content such as these podcasts and such as the YouTube comedy sketches that you should also go check out.
That's right. And if you want to tell us how big you think our puddles should be, you can reach us at saveeveryuniverse@gmail.com.